What separates rich people from the middle class? One author says it's the way people think about money. Earlier we spoke with Steve Siebold, author of How Rich People Think. So what are the top differences in the way people think?
Well, the biggest thing is that the middle class, the average person, is really afraid about money. It's fear. It's a fear-based consciousness. Most of us are raised with a fear-based consciousness around money. Most of the things, if you think about your past, most people's past, you study or you're taught from teachers, anyone of influence is negative about money. It's usually something negative or fear-based, and that's probably the biggest difference. People with money, the wealthy, are not fear-based.
And it's the worry about losing money. Is that right? That it's going to set you back. Now, why is that the problem in particular?
Well, they say a fear-based consciousness or thought process that will attach itself to anything. So if I don't have money, then I'm worried about where I'm going to get it. If I win the lottery, let's say, or if I happen to have a windfall and make a lot of money, now you'd think I'm not worried, but now I'm worried about losing it because I'm in a fear-based consciousness. So the first thing we recommend people do is change their thinking, change their consciousness around money, and start looking at an abundance, a fearless, abundance-based mentality as opposed to a fear-based mentality.
And in your book, you say one of the keys to how rich people think is that they think about in terms of serving other people and solving problems. And so you're saying make that shift. How do you do it?
Exactly. Well, it's like unemployment is so high, and I think if more people thought about there's all these problems that are going on right now in society, right? If they think more, if they shift their thinking toward how can I solve some of these problems? If it's a small problem, it's a small amount of money you're going to get paid to solve it. It's a larger problem, more money. And that's really the foundation of every fortune is problem solving. And that's how the wealthy think. They want to make more money. They think, okay, how can I solve a bigger problem, or how can I solve more problems for more people?
And the middle class, according to your book, you think that the middle class really is so focused on hard work in terms of having labor mentality. And why is that not a good thing to do?
Well, I think we're all taught that. We trade hours for dollars. We're taught, and I don't know about you, but I was taught in high school and college, all throughout my academic career, that hard work equals success. And the wealthy laugh at that. I mean, they know hard work really doesn't, unless you're talking about hard work in terms of thinking. Hard work really can get you, I mean, my dad was a bricklayer here in Chicago most of his life, and he worked really hard and he made a good living, but certainly was never wealthy because hard work typically doesn't, hard physical work especially, doesn't equate to wealth. Leverage creates wealth.
And how do rich people use leverage, and how do they use their thought process to get rich?
Well, they leverage everything. It's one of the greatest lessons I ever learned from the wealthy in the last 26 years of interviews. They leverage their education, their contacts, their knowledge, their money. They leverage everything to help them build greater wealth.
And also, I want to point out your personal story. In your book, you write how you were actually broke 25 years ago. How come?
I didn't get it. I grew up, in the suburbs of Chicago, not too far from here, and I was like every other kid. All my friends, no one really had any money in college. The college professors I went to classes with didn't have any money. So I'm learning from broke people, and you can't learn how to be rich from someone who's broke. And so I followed broke people's advice, and I stayed broke until I started following the wealthy. And when I did, the money started to come a little at a time, then it started to come a lot at a time. And it's typically, that's the way, at least I've seen it work. It's non-linear in its result. Once you start thinking like a rich person, the money starts to come because you start taking actions that lead to that kind of success.
Any other personal lessons that you want to pass along to us?
I think keep an open mind. Keep an open mind and be careful who you're associating with, because most people don't understand how money works. Just the thinking about money work. And again, I didn't either. I'm not standing from, talking from an ivory tower. I didn't get it either. But most people don't really understand how wealth is built. And so start listening to wealthy people. Open your mind and start listening to wealthy people and associate with them through books, seminars, CDs, whatever you possibly can to get exposure to their consciousness.
Okay, well, thanks for the advice. We appreciate it.
Thanks for
coming on the show.
Thank you.
Steve Siebold, author of How Rich People Think.